Hi, this is Manginoni, and here's some comic reviews for you. We have Superior Spider-Man #2, Avengers 4, Batman, Dark Knight 16, Teen Titans 16, Aquaman 16, and Invincible #100. Okay, I'm going to do Invincible first. I'm not really going to go too much into it because I don't want to ruin some potential spoils for the people who haven't read this yet. But I will say this. The title, The Death of Everyone, that's kind of misleading, but I can understand why they would pick a title like that, because in a sense it was getting close to that. You know, with the way they flooded the cities, like almost 1 million people died, and so I get that concept. The death, I don't know. I'm really torn on it. When I first read the story, I kind of felt really cheated. And then I looked through it again and thought about it, and I understood it better, but I still don't think that it lived up to the hype for the death that it was building up. I think that it did succeed in other areas, in the sense where it's taking Invincible in a different direction, it's evolving the story, but at the same time, this is very this part is kind of misleading, and I'm kind of I don't know. I think this is gonna be one of those things I'm gonna need to step back later on and read all the that trade that this is gonna be with to catch up to everything, and so this way I can properly digest the whole story. But as it stands now, I'm torn with this issue. Okay, Aquaman #16. This is the Throne of Atlantis crossover with the JLA. Johns is doing a great job with the story here. They're really building this pretty well. And there's some, I don't know, like, I liked how they brought in the JLA, so this way they'll get some exposure before their book starts. But at the same time, I'm going, they just arrived, and if you were just like a brand new reader, you would just be like, who are these people? I don't get it. Now, keep in mind, when I mean brand new reader, I mean it in the purest sense, because with the DC relaunch, there's probably a bunch of people who just started for the first time, and they may not know who some of these characters are. And I think that's a small minority of people, and they really should be catering to the normal readers. I think that it just needed one thing, maybe a page, just to transition their actual arrival better. And that's all I was really looking for that. But Hawkman smashing skulls open with his mace is a win on every single level. And I think Hawkman really does have the right idea. You're at war. You can't, like, make them, like, get unconscious and put them off to the side. You really have to start killing people, because if you don't reduce their numbers and kill them and demoralize them, they're just going to kill you eventually. But anyways, that's enough of the JLA. Now, with Aquaman's part of the story, he goes down to retrieve Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. And through this entire journey part, we start learning more about what's going on, and eventually by the end, we find out who's responsible for this nonsense war. But I think overall, though, the story is really, the pace is really good. I mean, Aquaman is a vicious superhero. I mean, as you can see here, he's just stabbing him with the trident. And I understand that these creatures of the deep are just nonsensical characters. They're cannon fodder. But it's the fact that they're doing this. There's blood in the water. Aquaman's getting, injured, and all of that was really good. I thought the Cyborg storyline, because if you remember from the previous issue, he wanted to be retrofitted, so this way, basically, he's going to remove his lungs so he can travel underwater. And I thought parts of it was really interesting, but I think at the same time, it needed a little bit more about him losing that part of his humanity. They kind of touched on it and then they just brushed away. So what I'm hoping for is they come back to that eventually. And in a way they kind of did touch on it a little bit, because during one of his dreams he was a normal person and he didn't want to leave that scenario or that dream state. So I think they did just barely enough, but I just needed just a little bit more. Overall though, I'm really enjoying it, and this has definitely been an enjoyment to read. Okay, Teen Titans: Death of a Family. What can I say about this one? Now, my sigh isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just if it shows the Joker's mentality of being evil, but at the same time, it's not living up to the standard that Snyder has raised the bar to, which is unfortunate. Because if anything, while I think a lot of these side stories are decent, when you compare it to the parent title, it's just, there's something missing with it. In this case, I can't quite put the finger on it, because a lot of the elements to the storytelling is there. You know, you have Red Robin, you have the Red Hood, they're both captured. The Joker basically says, you're going to have to kill one of you guys. One of you guys is going to have to die because I have your fathers, and one of them is going to die. And if you don't, they're going to die if you don't do what I ask. And, the thing is, Red Hood's dad apparently died in prison, but yet there he is right there. And so there's a lot of questions as to, are these people really the parent, the fathers? And, of course they just go into the typical fight after that, because, you have to have that part of it. But at the same time, I think it's missing a lot of the psychology of it, of, who's behind the mask, so to speak. And at the end, you get this really quick, well, yeah, this is what I knew, this is how to solve this problem. And I'm like, I needed more, and I think that's what was missing. Granted, I like action, but I'm thinking, maybe instead of planting seeds down for another storyline that you're doing in the Titans, maybe focus this a little bit more with the death of the family, since it's the banner, Death of the Family, and focus more on Red Robin and the Red Hood being captured by, Joker. But otherwise, I thought it was okay. The art's decent. I saw that Teen Titans is getting a new artist, so I'm kind of curious to see what that look is going to be like. But I think overall, the Teen Titans is going to be a title that I'm going to eventually just drop, is what I'm looking at. Okay, Batman: The Dark Knight. As I mentioned in my pull list, this looks like it's basically a reinventing of the Mad Hatter. And if one thing I was realizing is that when I finished this, they're kind of doing what Spider-Man did, or Scott Slott did with Spider-Man, with the supervillains. If you remember in Spider-Man, they did the Gauntlet, where they re-envisioned every one of Spider-Man's major villains. And they're doing the same thing in a way with this. Snyder's doing it right now with the Joker. We've seen the Scarecrow, and now we're seeing the Mad Hatter. And, we kind of saw Clayface and Poison Ivy, but that's, they didn't really receive the main treatment that the other three characters have been receiving. And I have to admit, man, this Mad Hatter is freaking twisted and evil and crazy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I'm trying to avoid a little bit of the spoilers because, honestly, there's not much of a spoiler. It's just basically Batman's out on the hunt, and he thinks the Penguin's involved in some kidnappings, and the Penguin goes, hey, I'm not the only one who wears hats. And then Batman just leaves. Now, that part was kind of funny. But overall, I'm really, I guess I can say I'm saving the Mad Hatter eyeballs for the spoilers, because those eyes are like going in different directions and they're just creepy looking. Overall, I think this is a fantastic start, and I'm really looking forward to seeing just how crazy they're going to make the Mad Hatter. Okay, Avengers number 4. This is basically your mop-up issue with the pods and the bringing of Hyperion into the Marvel Universe again storyline. One thing I have to admit I really did like is how they did the previously in Avengers, and they give you like a full page of what's going on, and then they give you some more catch-up. And, you know, granted, I don't know if every single comic needs this type of thing, but this is one thing that I think Marvel succeeds in, that they do give you this previously seen. Usually it's dialogue, but, by doing this, I don't feel intimidated picking up a Marvel book and reading it, because I just read that and figure out what's going on. The art is really good still, and I thought the Hyperion origin was decent. It's basically, they went through his storyline where, his world was dying, and AIM basically came in and saved him. Okay. So that's the gist of it. It's nothing earth-shattering or anything like that. But from there, then they're going to other locations where there's the pods to make sure that they seal them up. And there's definitely something big that's going to be coming from those initial 3 issues. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what AIM is up to and what type of naughtiness that they're going to be involved with. And finally, Superior Spider-Man number 2. The first thing I have to say is all of those people who raged and screamed bloody murder that Slott and Marvel has ruined Peter Parker, you must all start be eating that crow now, because Peter Parker is here pretty much the whole time watching this, and he's swearing and vowing vengeance, and he's going to get Doc Ock back. So we all, the smart people knew Peter Parker's not leaving for long. It's you people who think that this was the worst thing ever, because they've ruined the continuity, they've ruined the character. He never left. So there. Have faith in your Marvel writers and editors now for the next time something like this happens. Now, the one thing I really liked is how, with Snyder and then the people that he has drawing Spider-Man, because he has this different look, he has a different feel. The way he sits, even like when he's like right there in the restaurant, that's different. His facial expressions are different. The mad scientist gear is different. Everything is just, it's kind of like this red flag that makes you go, why can't you see that there's something odd going on here? Then to top it off, he really is a superior Spider-Man. Spider-Man used to have to patrol every day, and Doc Ock Spider-Man, he basically makes these androids, puts them all around the city, and with an app, he swipes it, and then it gives him the all clear. He doesn't even need to patrol any longer. I'm like, my God, that's like awesome. Now, granted, if it's not the most, well, it is a very efficient way of doing it, he's probably not going to be able to solve, like all the crimes and things like that. Because there's, always something that appears outside of his normal flight path. But beyond that, it's genius. Even the way they're handling Peter Parker and the Mary Jane dating thing, it's fantastic. It's just, you can just feel the rage in Peter Parker. And then, I thought about this for a while. In that, is this a crime? You have Doc Ock. He's trying to score with Mary Jane, but he can't, because he just can't get it done for one reason or another. And he finally realizes, you know what? I don't really have to have sex with her. All I have to do is just access Peter Parker's memories. And then he knows everything, every intimate detail about Mary Jane. Everything. And because, he put himself into Peter's place. Is that a crime? Is that a form of rape? I don't know. That's just inherently creepy, though. And I can just feel the rage of Peter Parker as he's screaming at Doc. What's occurring. It's just, Slott is doing this on a whole new level. and he's doing a fantastic job. And I'm so glad I stuck around, because this is a fantastic read. And the nail in everything is, if you remember in issue 700, one person knows of the switch. And whether or not that person believed the switch or not, they know. And they are, looks like at the end, are going to start to look into it. Peter will be back. It's just a matter of time. So just sit back, rage with Peter, and things will work out in the end. Anyways, that's my review for these titles. Let me get you a free book. How about this? I'm already here. I'll get you Spectacular Spider-Man. Now, don't forget to like the Facebook link there. I also do reviews for Crunchyroll, so you can check out the link there at the Crunchyroll site. There's the code, and that's a 0 between the 4 and the B. And at the end, that's a B, 7B4. That is not an 8. That's a B. Yep, that's a B. Okay, anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down, let me know what you think. I'll have more stuff later. I'm still working on things. Just things are taking so much time. And until next time.